Yes guys, what's going on? Welcome to AdamMcKola TV. I am Adam. This is the preview for Manchester United's trip to Holland to take on AZ Alkmaar of the Eredivisie. Yes, United go there with a squad that is without Bissaka, Paul Pogba and Anthony Martial, as well as the long-term absentee of Eric Bailly. That rhymes bars. Hope you guys are good. Hope you guys are locked in. Of course, I can see you guys that are watching live. And of course, if you've tuned in after the fact and you're not live, then thank you for tuning in anyway. And get your comments in the comments box below with your prediction for the game and your predicted 11. I'll be giving you my predicted 11 later on in the show as well. So keep it locked for that. I'll be telling you the squad that has flown out to Holland as well. It's including some familiar faces as well as some of the younger lads and some of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's thoughts from the press conference. We'll be reacting to those too. So keep it locked to the preview here on AdamMcKola TV. Make sure you're banging that like button. Make sure you're commenting, sharing and subscribing to the channel as well. Because as ever, I've got you covered on all things Manchester United. Now I am just bringing up the squad news for the squad that has travelled to Holland on my phone. So just bear with me while I do that. And while I do that, I can see Kasim's in the comments saying, is Delo fit? Coggerino saying yes sir, he's ready for the preview. Kevin's in the comments, Kasim as well, as I said. Scratch is in the comments, I am Red's in the comments, DM and Anshuman's also there as well. So keep it locked guys, get your comments in. The squad that has travelled out to bear with me, the squad that has travelled out to Holland is David De Gea, Sergio Romero, Lee Grant, Diogo Dalot. So the answer to your question, Kasim, is yes. Victor Lindelof, Harry Maguire, Axel Twanzebe, Marcus Rojo, Brandon Williams, so no Aaron Wan-Bissaka for United, or Ashley Young, he hasn't travelled with their squad either. Then we've got Scott McTominay, Nemanja Matic, Fred, James Garner, Andreas Pereira, Juan Mata, Jesse Lingard, Angel Gomez, Daniel James, Tahith Chong, Mason Greenwood and Marcus Rashford. So that's the squad that is travelling out. No Ashley Young, no Paul Pogba, no Aaron Wan-Bissaka, no Anthony Martial for Manchester United. But in regards to Paul Pogba, the news is from the club that following a specialist's opinion, Pogba requires a period of further rest and conservative treatment for the foot injury he sustained against Southampton. He's obviously played a couple of 90 minutes recently. It'd be silly to risk him in a game in the Europa League. I've said it all along throughout the season and throughout the competition. We should be resting the likes of Pogba in these games. Marcus Rashford, he shouldn't be starting this game. We need to be taking him in off the bench. If anything, hopefully we don't need to include him in the game at all, because I feel like he mentally, more than physically, he needs a little bit of a rest. He's obviously out of form. He's not performing at the moment. He's not confident when he's through on goal. He's not taking his chances well. And I think it's just best for Marcus Rashford to come out of the firing line a little bit. We know the talent he possesses. We know that he can score goals, and we'll hope that he gets his form back. But right now, I think it's best for him to just sit this one out. Obviously, whether Ollie thinks Tahith Chong, Mason Greenwood, Daniel James, Angel Gomez, Jesse Lingard, and all those guys can make that front 3 or 4 without having to include Marcus Rashford is another story. Because even when we had Mason Greenwood, he started Marcus Rashford against Arsenal. But now, obviously, this is AZ Alkmaar. Now, we're playing against a team that is, you know, I'm not going to say like Rochdale, but like Astana, we should be beating them. Yes, it's away from home. Yes, the Dutch fans will be up for it, even though it's not at their usual home stadium. And yes, all that stuff. But we should be beating this team. And with or without Marcus Rashford. So I think we should be playing without him in this game. Give him a little bit of a break. And he's not in form anyway. So based on form, does he deserve to start? No, is probably the answer. DM says it feels as if Rashford's been carrying an injury for a few months. I hope he gets a rest. Bang on, mate. It does look like that as well when he's playing. Rashford should be sent down to the reserves for a few weeks, play rest, Greenwood for the rest of the season. Relax a little bit. I don't think it's that deep. Garner deserves minutes. I feel very strongly about this, says Kevin. Any updates on Martial's return from injury? Ollie has said he hopes to have him back for Newcastle, but if not, it'll be the game after that. Hopefully we'll be seeing Anthony Martial back soon, and it's just a case of not risking him in these games really. They've conceded 3 goals in 8 league games. Not an easy team to score against, considering we can't score more than 2 in a match, says Subscratch, which is a good point as well. I'm probably being a little bit unfair to Alkmaar. Obviously, they're a team that win a lot of their games in the league, otherwise they wouldn't be in the Europa League. They wouldn't have qualified. And along with Vitesse, PSV, Ajax, they do pretty well in the league. So, you know, you have to look at them and think they're gonna be confident at home, especially if we're playing a weakened side. But we should still be beating them. And I'll repeat that squad: De Gea, Romero, Lee Grant. You're probably thinking Romero's going to start. Then we've got Delot, Lindelof, Maguire, Twanzebe, Rojo, Brandon Williams. With no Ashley Young in the squad, no Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Brandon Williams, whether he starts or comes from the bench, likely to get minutes. That's great for him, his development as well. Then we've got Scott McTominay, Nemanja Matic, Fred, James Garner, Andreas Pereira, Juan Mata, Jesse Lingard, Angel Gomez and Daniel James. Those are the midfielders and some of those attackers as well. Strikers, forwards, Tahith Chong, Marcus Rashford, Mason Greenwood. I'll be giving you my predicted 11 later on in this show. Now, Mason Greenwood, someone commented that he's going to score his 3rd goal this season. Obviously, 2 starts for him this campaign, all in the cup games, Astana and Rochdale. 2 goals for him as well. And I'd go as far to say he scored when not performing really, which is a great sign for a striker if you can score goals, look as comfortably as he has done on both feet in games and not have performed that well. I hope he starts against AZ Alkmaar, and I hope he starts up top as well. I was really keen for him to start against Arsenal because he would have gave their back four something that they've, you know, unexpected. But I hope he starts against Alkmaar. And you'd like to think Alkmaar will be pressing forward, trying to get forward, trying to make things happen, trying to score goals. And that should allow us to hit them on the counter-attack at times. And I wouldn't be surprised to see us set up that way. Soak a little bit of the pressure up, sit deep and then break. Maybe use the likes of Angel Gomez or Jesse Lingard, Mason Greenwood, Tahith Chong on the counter-attack. Will Daniel James start in this game as well? Because obviously he played, I think he played 90 minutes against Arsenal. He ran a lot as well. Will he be given a start in this game? I'm not, you know, is Ollie going to ring the changes? We saw 9 changes each time in the cup games. So it could well be the case that he does that. Adam says, have you watched Howson's interview with Berbers? I've seen half of it. I need to watch the rest of it. So I don't think I've seen the bit that you've asked me a question on. So I can't answer that right now. But I saw the first bit and it was really good. So hats off to Steve for a quality video. Greenwood is hungry enough to start this game. He has a natural 9. We don't have any others, even when Rashford and Martial are fit, says Kassim. I think Martial is a natural 9. I think he can play in that position. And I think that's why Ollie's given him that shirt number as well, as if to say you're going to be the main number 9. And that's why we've seen Rashford play there. I don't think Rashford is even convinced he's a number 9. He probably wants to come in from the wider areas a lot of the time. You've seen him against Arsenal, you know, floating out wide and just never in the 18-yard box. Now, Martial can be, you can criticise him for that at times, not being in the areas that you want him to be and not making the runs and not staying in the 18-yard box. But I think this season has been a lot better for it. Some of his goals have come in the 18-yard box, and you look at that and you think Martial, if he was fit, he would have been leading the line for us. And it takes a little bit of pressure off Marcus Rashford. And I can't wait for us to get Anthony Martial back. I don't think we need to push him back in ASAP. We don't want to risk anything, getting another injury or anything. So Ollie's doing the right thing. But with Marcus Rashford, we've rushed him back. Clearly didn't look fit against Arsenal. Didn't look confident when we could have played Mason Greenwood. So Liam says, is anyone else firmly on the McTominay bus or is it just me? McTominay's done extremely well in recent weeks and in recent months as well. He's always going to give you effort and commitment. He's always going to cover grass. But what he's been doing in some recent games is he's been bringing the quality as well. Not only his goal, but some of his passing now. I think at times when he tries to overcomplicate things, he can lose the ball a lot. But when he keeps it simple, he's a perfect midfielder in there to give you a little bit of balance. I do think we need another one in there to be starting alongside McTominay to then get Pogba further up the pitch. Whether that's Fred or not, that remains to be seen. Ultimately though, as good as McTominay has been, I think it's unfair for someone like him to be starting week in, week out. We need more quality in our midfield area, but I think everyone can agree with that. What do you think Rashford's best position is? I think I touched on it earlier, Scratch. I think he's wider, in one of the wider areas. I think when he's confident, he can play in that number 9 position, but I think he's better from a wider position. And I think even from an international perspective, although we completely care about Manchester United, from an international perspective, with Harry Kane playing for England, he's going to have to get used to occupying one of them wider positions. Sancho on one side, him on the other side. So, you know, keep your thoughts coming in on the game ahead. Manchester United against AZ Alkmaar. I think it's now time for us to bring the predicted 11 to you. And as I was talking about McTominay, I do think he should be given a rest. So this is my 11 for the game. Romero in goal, usual case with that. He comes in for David De Gea. Dalot at right back, Rojo at left back, Twanzebe and Jones at centre half. Now I know Twanzebe was involved in the error which led to the goal, but he's been excellent for United. Besides that, really showed cool, calm head, and he's assured, he brings the ball out well. You know, he's good with the ball at his feet. He was played out of position, and he became accustomed to that really quickly. Did well up against Pepe. So I think Twanzebe is coming into his own, and I'd like to see him start here again. Phil Jones alongside him, Matic and Fred in midfield. Fred needs to get more minutes under his belt so he can become a starter in the first 11 for the Premier League, in my opinion. Then I've gone with Gomez in behind Mason Greenwood, Daniel James and Jesse Lingard out wide. The reason I haven't started Tahith Chong is because he played yesterday at Lincoln. I think it was in the Johnston's Paint Trophy, or whatever it's called these days, the Checker Trade or whatever. But I think we'll see maybe him come on as a sub. He scored in that game. I think he did come off as a sub, but is he going to start again a couple of days later with the travel in between? I don't think so. So I'd go with that. Dan Thomas says too many changes in the back line. We've seen Twanzebe and Jones play together in both cup games. We've seen Rojo play in both cup games. I don't think it's a shock if we see that back line in this game. Maybe Dalot won't start, but who else is going to start at fullback? You know, Brandon Williams, if he starts, probably at left back. Are you then going to play Twanzebe at right back and Rojo at centre half? I don't know. I think you're probably more likely to see this, although I could be wrong. We've seen Jones, Twanzebe play in the cup games before. We've seen Rojo play at left back. I don't think it's a shock if we see this team. And I think this was the back four and goalkeeper that started in the game against Astana at home. So don't be surprised. DM says spot on, same as mine. This team is better than Rochdale though. So, regardless, Ollie's shown that he's going to pick this kind of backline in these games. I don't know. Maybe he'll go with Harry Maguire and Twanzebe for this game because it's away from home, and you know Harry Maguire gets some European minutes under his belt for United. But we've got an away game against Newcastle on Sunday, which, with all due respect to the Europa League, is more important. Maguire doesn't need a rest. Is that team good enough to win? Aren't Alkmaar pretty decent? I think in midfield, you'd like to think Matic up against a Europa League team should be good enough. Fred, going forward, we can't. You're going to play Rashford, really? Apart from that, Mata, could you bring Mata into the team? Maybe you'll bring in Mata in Angel Gomez's position, possibly. I'm not too sure. Michael thinks Lingard should be benched. Dan thinks Jones just worries him. That's why he's concerned about the defence. But we have seen Jones start. This is my predicted 11, not my preferred 11. So this is my predicted 11. And with Jones having started in the cup games, I think it's a possibility he'll start in this game. Matic is fine. Garner is absolutely tearing up the under-21s. He scored against Lincoln, didn't he? Sonu. That's our future, not Matic. Again, will he start having played in that game and with the travel? I'd love for it to happen, but I'm just trying to be more realistic. But maybe Ollie does have that in mind and he wants to see them start in that game. We need to get a mercenary striker in in January. A mercenary? Why do they have to be a mercenary, mate? Someone like Zlatan. Is Zlatan a mercenary who can do the job for a few months, show the way for Greenwood? Mata was at the press conference with Ole, so he will likely start. That's probably the case then. Alkmaar conceded 3 goals in 8 games, says Ali. I'd love to see Zlatan back, says Robert. I feel Lingard is one of our worst players right now, says Anshuman. Liam says, call me crazy, but use this game to try Lindelof laugh as a central defensive midfielder. Matter of time before Tuanzebe takes his place at the back, and we need someone in the middle of the park, says Liam. That's an interesting perspective. Mata bound start was with Ali in the press conference. Add Susan as well. Another person that thinks Mata is likely to start, given that he was in the press conference. Where would we see Mata in this team? So let's say that is the case. Mata's going to start in this game. I'm going to edit the graphic right now. So let's say Mata's going to start this game. Where will he come in? Will it be in for? Will it be here? Maybe. One sec. Let me save this. So I'm just changing the 11 graphic right now. So, in that case, if Mata does start, will he come in there? Where Jesse Lingard was in the team, and then Angel Gomez. He did hint that younger players were going to start. So we'll look at that quote that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer also made in the conference, in the press conference. He made this quote, which was that one or two of our youngsters will get a chance. Another chance to impress. Will have a mix of experience and youngsters. So, who will those youngsters be? Will we see Mata and Lingard start and James Garner, Tuanzebe get a game and Greenwood? Will it just be 3 of them? Or will we see Angel Gomez, Greenwood? Who do you think is going to get a start then out of that younger bunch? Get your comments in the comments below. Takes a lot of clicks. I got to go through Photoshop and stuff, so it's a bit of a mad one. But we got there in the end. So that's possibly the team with Juan Mata in. Garner in instead of Matic, but won't happen, says Lewis. I think we've got to take into consideration that midweek game that the 23s played where Chong and Garner were both involved for United. That's why I've put Gomez and Greenwood in this team, and Tuanzebe as those younger players that Oli was talking about, with Mata, Matic, Fred providing the experience, Phil Jones, Rojo as well, and Romero. Then you got Delo, Tuanzebe, Angel Gomez, Danny James, Mason Greenwood as the younger players. Mason, Axel and Gomez as Dan. That's who's in my team. Greenwood, Angel and Brandon Williams. Tuanzebe rested for Newcastle, says Anand. So you want to see Tuanzebe rested for Newcastle. That's a big shout. I'm not against it. I love Axel Tuanzebe. I think he did incredibly well against Rochdale, did well against Arsenal. And I think he needs to come, into the team eventually. I think he's shown form. Will obviously Ollie stick with that Lindelof Maguire kind of situation, or will Tuanzebe force his way in alongside Harry Maguire? Garner played lightly last night. He looks very calm under pressure and a great finish too, says Yaskiri. He obviously played very well for the 23s in that game against the Lincoln City first team. Now I don't know how many substitutions Lincoln City made from their usual team, but it's big men's league. They're playing football against men, players that are usually fighting week in, week out for futures and points and everything, promotion, relegation. So they're coming up against some tough players, and I think they would have learnt a lot in that. I definitely want to see Rojo start. Just like Kazim says for Banta, nah, not for Matt. I think he deserves to start. He's done okay in the 2 games he has played. Romero obviously conceded that goal against Rochdale, but nevertheless, steady figure in between the sticks in these cup games. Tuanzebe has to play, I think, although, as someone mentioned, they want to see him rested for Newcastle. Delo coming back from injury, get him involved. Phil Jones probably be given a game. Matic likely to be given a game. Fred possibly. Get him ready for the Premier League. Mata, as we said, he was in the press conference, so is Mata going to play? Angel Gomez, Daniel James and Mason Greenwood. That's my predicted 11. You guys made me take out Jesse Lingard and change it up. Rojo for captain. Oh, Cassin. James needs to play against Newcastle with Michael Jones. You can see Lingard trying to shoot when he could pass, maybe due to the stats and comments about him. Latest is Robert. I don't think players think that deeply about stats, to be honest. Royal captain would be quality TV. What is your score prediction for this game, guys? Get your score predictions in for this game as well. I think it's going to be a tricky game for United. I think we could possibly concede or concede first, but I'm going to try and be positive, keep them positive vibes rolling, and go with a 2-1 win for Manchester United. Get 6 points out of 6, win your 2 home games left in the competition, and you're through in the group. I think if we can win this game, it takes massive pressure off those other 2 away games, and then maybe we can't even rest players in those games. We may have got into a position where you think, oh, we need a point or 2 from our away game, so we can't really rest players. But if we can win our first away game, then we can get a point on the board. 6 points out of 6, great start. Got difficult games coming up, play them. You know, if you get another win, the group's pretty much done. Advates is 2-0, Michael Jones 3-1, Yaskir 1-1, Anand 4-0, Waste 2-1, Susan 1-0, David 2-0, 3-2 says Cassim, 1-0 Robert, Dan says 2-1, Mason with the double, Sonu says 3-1, United 4-0 says Rashid, Ali says 2-1, Lewis says 3-1, I think Dan James with 1 and Greenwood with 2, with loads of fingers crossed as well. 4-0, we're going to surprise everyone, 3 wins out of 3 for our second team, says a 9. Or would it be 2 wins and a draw, given that Rochdale went to penalties, but they did win the shootout, so there you go. CrossFit Jesus says 1-0, AZ 0, United 2, Fred and Greenwood to score, says Antuman. I'm not sure many people will be putting a bet on of Fred to score first, but there you have it. Jones own goal on top, says Lewis. Never been so difficult to guess a United score in my lifetime. Honestly, mate, haven't got a clue, says Liam. It's just the case with United. You don't know which one is going to turn up. Is it going to be a one that's going to play some good football, free-flowing, score loads of goals? Or is it going to be another one that just seems really stodgy, doesn't really get the ball moving, lacklustre, slow football, slow transitions? We need to be quicker. You know, the other day we didn't really get going until Pereira ran at someone in like the 30th minute. It was really odd. We need to play with energy. With energy, man. We've got one of the youngest squads around, but we look really slow at times. It's strange. It's strange. We need to get results. We need to get wins on the road. Getting an away win in Europe, whoever it's against, is something that will bring confidence. And we've not won away from home. Obviously, draws against Southampton and Wolves, losing against West Ham. We've got Newcastle away coming up. So if we can beat Alkmaar away, it gives us a little bit more confidence. And then that stats kind of no away wins since March. I know Newcastle aren't in form, but if we go there out of form, their fans are up for it. We're thinking about where's our win away from home coming from. It's going to be a tricky game. We can take a little bit of the pressure off here. And I hope we do that. I hope we do win 2-1. Now, wouldn't surprise me, as was said, you just don't know who's going to turn up these days by Liam. Wouldn't surprise me if we lost or drew this game, but stranger things have happened, and hopefully United can get wins. It's mad. We won at Juventus last season. We won at Paris Saint-Germain last season, and we haven't won at home, away from home since. It's nuts. We need to sort it out ASAP. But is that the team that we're going to see? Remember, guys, I'll have it covered all the way through here on AdamMcKola TV. We have live reaction after the game, so make sure you keep it locked. Make sure you're subscribing, commenting, sharing. For now, I'm going to get out of here, but thank you for tuning in. Fan cams will be on tomorrow as well. Radio Gaz Drinkwater is out there covering me. I'm going to be doing the watch along for Full Time Devils, and then I'll be doing a live reaction show as well on my channel. So make sure you're there for all of that. And for now, see you later.